Hello, everyone. We are at Tax and we are having Kavindra in house now. And Kavindra, most probably, there is no introduction needed. We all know Kavindra. We love Kavindra. But Kavindra, for rest of the world who are by chance not aware of what you are doing at Salesforce, what is your brief intro? What are you into?
Yeah, so at Salesforce, I've been at Salesforce for 17 and a half years, and the journey has been amazing. Every day I come to work, every day I do stuff related to Salesforce. I just get more energy because it's been a great company where being able to apply my creativity, a lot of innovative ideas, and most importantly, Trailblazer community, which is at my heart, as you already know, especially the India Trailblazer community. And so that's the energy that keeps me, going. And then, of course, my role has evolved over the years. My focus has always been the tech community, where I can provide them and enable them with programs where they can basically learn, and whether it's learning uh, through content that's online or even events. That's the last few years is where my focus has been. Events like TDX, Dreamforce, which we are planning right now for September, and
Yeah,
of
it's
course the
almost
world
there.
tours that. Yes, it is. And the world tours, the global world tours. So anyways, that's kind of have been my journey, but my uh, career started 36 plus years ago, still in the tech community, and my heart has always been focused on that community and really inspiring them, so that they can make a difference, in the world we
Right.
live in.
So this a career decision to be a community centric person to help evangelize a platform, it's not a usual path, especially like seeing the kind of journey you have from like past 36 years. Typically people love to go into a managerial route or an architect route or a developer kind of track. So how that kind of transition started, like where you felt like, okay, I
Yeah.
will help communities.
Yeah, the funny part is my bachelor's degree is in computer engineering. I graduated, I never really focused on that. It's like it's just as I got into my career, somehow the connection with the customer started from the get-go, whether it's in the like the sales engineers, connecting with them in the field, like, and really developing content for them and supporting them and so on. And so that happened. And then when I was at Sun Microsystems, I was in a support role, and it was always connecting, solving problems for the technical audiences. And that kind of shifted me to really the world of when I'll say training, but not training like the traditional, like, the education that each
Evangelize,
is,
educate
yeah,
people.
but it's more evangelism type things and sharing that content, whether it's the partner community on the tech side. And so that happened, and it's on. And then Java One, of course, I was part of the Java One team. So it just shifted me to continue focus on the community. And Java One, of course, in the old days, that was the largest conference in those days. And so somehow that just came along through my journey to
Mhm.
Salesforce. And it's hard to get away from it because, as I said, it's something that just shifted me towards that. And it's something that I don't think I can get rid of.
So is there any other way we can put it? Like are you a backbencher who enjoyed talking to people more rather than just sticking to the books and theory? And that made you connect better with customers and sales because salespeople are talkative and
Yeah,
evangelism has to talk a lot. They cannot sit in
yeah,
silo
yeah.
and
True, true. I don't think I would be able to sit in an office on a cube typing away and coding. Oh, no,
right.
no, that's not me. I'm a people person. I love people, and that's why when I get more energy, when I'm really talking about them or talking with them, and whether it's like right now at this podcast or at events. And
You
so
feel that's
I
your
think
thing.
that's my thing. That's my jam.
Yeah. So take this point here, like typically like in India, people again want to be, let's say, like doctor, accountants, and then in IT there is a typical thing, okay, we will be a programmer, then we will graduate to something else. But
Yeah.
then there are people who are really good with people skills, as we are talking about. What do you suggest how they can shape up their career into evangelism, product evangelism, or developer
Yeah, yeah,
evangelism?
yeah. You know what? And I think pointed out earlier that uh, like the skills are very unique, and I think that I know the pressures are on with it depends on culture, right? The pressure is on regards to, hey, become a doctor or become an engineer. Especially I see that in Asian cultures throughout, right? And uh, I would say if you look at the current state and current generation, I think they have an opportunity to be impactful. And at the same time, I think impactful in the sense of something that makes a difference, it's rewarding. But at the same time, I mean, it's monetary. I think there is opportunity there too. So uh, the beauty about it is you have let's say you have a technical background and you may not go deep into that technical world, and that's fine, but if you do, that's even better. And then you apply the people skills, or just your heart to talk to people, and you take that and you combine those two things, and that is like uh, a powerful masala, I'll call it. It's really
Right.
powerful because that that can take a person to levels unheard of. And the reason is um, those are the people who can connect with the customer now. That's 80% of the way, right? Connecting with the customer, understanding their needs and challenges and so on, and then translating that into something um, that um, that engineering, for example, may want to know in order to build a product, is an example. So, anyways, I think the people with those skills should not discredit themselves. I think they should feel great and good about themselves no matter what anyone else is saying, because in this industry, I've been around, like I said, for a long time. I've shifted in that, and that's my advice that I give to a lot of people, like individuals who are engineers, consultants, and they're like, what do I do next? And it's like, and if I see they have those skills, I mean, why don't you explore that path?
Right, right. And what I see and what I'm trying to learn to help other guys, because people typically take career advice from all of us, is this skill requires touching many people like Salesforce product team, customers, developers, and then making sure the message is passed correctly, understood correctly. So the comm skills and things are solid, so a person can think of going into this route, right?
Yes, yes, yeah. And it's just I think it's a mindset. It's a mindset a person needs to just uh, um, build, and then focus on that. But yeah, I think the opportunity is great. It doesn't matter where in the world, actually, because
Mm,
at the end of the day, at least in the field of IT, at the end of the day, we have to connect to our customers, and in order to do that, the tech skills, but is on top of that, the people skills is critical.
correct. So it overlaps a bit with architect kind of thing because they also have to talk to a lot of people. But again, it's a different zone altogether and interesting career option. But I think we are talking about communities also. And one thing I always wanted to ask you is you're traveling a lot. You're seeing a lot of people from different cultures and countries and communities. So what are some key takeaways, like what India can learn from other people from different cultures, which they are doing right? And what is vice
Yeah,
versa,
yeah,
what India can share with the world?
yeah. That's a great question. I had the, I mean, have had the opportunity and really blessed by um, going to different countries and cities and cultures, and especially in the tech environment, especially with Salesforce, in the Salesforce ecosystem, right? One thing I've seen is the community group leaders, they believe in a like a team, not an individual, like I'm alone and I'm the powerful one, but it's more like a team, co-leaders, having co-leaders, a little structure there. And the benefit behind this is, one person can't do everything, but when you
True.
have a team, then together you're very powerful. But the thing is, the mindset has to be to work as a team. I mean, we do it at work, right? What's the
Right.
difference? And so I think that that creates strong communities. The more some of the examples, you look at, kind of the Tokyo community team, or Sydney, London, that all the groups together, even across teams, they'll come together. Individually, they are a team, but they come together,
To form a bigger
across.
event or to execute a bigger event.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And even like regular meetups, they have like few people together working on things, because you get different ideas, and that makes it more powerful. When you look at the community events, the best ones I know that people can learn from is like Midwest Dreaming.
Hmm.
You're dreaming. I went to the Amsterdam one, and I was looking around, and wow, you got a whole this group like helping each other out and working together. And I'm not saying that there are groups in India that do that, but I think when I step back and look at like an overall picture, I think that's one of the learning lessons there. The other one is um, uh, um, quality versus quantity. And
Yeah.
when I say that, let's not focus on bigger is better, or how can I get the largest group, and how can I get
Yeah.
the largest number of people, and how let me get the shiny speakers. I call
Yeah.
that confetti speakers, or the fluffiness, right?
Right.
And I think quality matters. At the end of the day, um, people um, people come, they invest their time to learn, and I think finding the great speakers, and good content, relevant content is important. And you know what? Many of them are in our backyards. They are
Right.
there in front of us. We don't have to go 1,000 miles.
Yeah, we're chasing stars, but they are just in the corner. But you know, the Your Dreaming thing, I also attended that event and I felt really part of it. Though I was not organizing or doing anything, the way they are moving every evening, there is a hangout happening, very casual one.
Yes,
Until that day event came, we are all very much comfortable with
yes.
each other. There's a different kind of energy altogether.
There is. It just somehow as if you've known them forever, right? It's like
Correct.
it's that feeling you get. Yeah. So one other thing I wanted to throw out is India Salesforce. The ecosystem is large enough. It's
Right.
growing. It's growing. So guess what? There's enough for everyone. So guess what? We don't need to compete with others. So that's the other thing I've seen, by the way, when I do comparison. I see there's less competition in those groups. There's more like let's work as a team and just make a difference for the members, right? And
Right.
for the people coming.
Right, right. So these are really valid points, and I hope our Indian trailblazers will learn from them. Anything which India is doing right, which can inspire world.
Yes, actually, there definitely, is the one thing that I remember from a while back. Ex-manager of mine, he says, Kavindra, this was like when I was going to India, and he says, Kavindra, can you bottle the passion that the people have there and bottle it up, and the hunger they
Take
have,
picture.
and bring it over here, and let's make it happen here. And I laughed for a second, but the India community has really the passion to learn and the hunger to learn about technologies, whatever they may be. They want to learn, and learning not from just like let me just quickly look, but no, learning to understand. And I think that's definitely makes a difference. And I think that on the Western world communities, there is so much competition of the mind, uh, and then distractions of the mind, that people see that as one of the major things on the plate to make a difference in their careers or in future. And I do think the other thing is that the India community takes their careers seriously. I mean, they take it seriously in a sense of they put a lot of energy behind it.
India has a lot of population, so there is always a fight to find the right spot, grow in that spot.
Competition,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Well, it's like for a job, you might have 100 people.
right.
Here, it's less so. So the hunger is less because it's like, you know what, I'll just get another. The need is, there's a much more need, in
To get the
themselves
foot,
versus,
yeah, get the
yeah,
foot grounded. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, it
yeah.
seemed the case with me. I was not from very good college, so initial 1 or 2 years I just have to get into job and do anything. I have to survive, which I see in many cases. Some guys are from really good colleges, they might get placed, but many are just trying to find the good first job and establish themselves. But with
And
that,
they have to fight for it.
yeah, they have to fight for it. But sir, there is another interesting angle here. We see Gen Z and I don't know, millennials and Gen Alpha. So this new generation, how do you see that changing in India versus other countries? Because you must be dealing with a lot of those people now, like
Yeah.
since last 5 years or 3 years.
Well, this is a great topic because I know that your experience on a day-to-day basis in India, and so I'll share what I have, and you share what you have.
Sure.
And I know a little bit from there, but I think you have more experience in that area. But I'll tell you, in the Western side of the world, there's a few things that has happened, and I don't say COVID alone, but during that time frame, a lot of things have happened. There's mindsets that changed, culture changed to a certain extent, the attitudes changed. And I'm not saying all the Gen Z are there because I've got kids, and guess what? Some of them are two different types,
Yeah.
and so I see that. I see that Salesforce. I see that in the industry. I see with friends, and the way I think the Gen Zers are working, the mindset is very different than the previous generation of workers or managers. And so what is happening is, and that what I'm seeing is like there's a disconnect. There's a disconnect because the Gen Zers want and are at a point demanding even certain things,
Right.
and the managers, I mean, they're trying to they're they're stuck in certain in their ways, so to speak. They also that they have to answer to the company, and so they have to keep a certain level of rapport there. The one thing I'll say is that uh, something has to change, and I think the solution is going to be both sides. The solution has to be both sides. But tell me a little bit about on the India side. Tell me, what are you experiencing?
From India side, what I feel is from my generation, like I'm an 80s guy, so there was no cushion, like a heavy cushion from parents. You have to do a lot of things on your own, and you are supposed to get a job and build a name for yourself. That was a big thing. But now, one thing is there is a solid cushion and protection from parents. So they are pampered to an extent. Not everybody, again, it's not a blanket statement. So they are not having that hunger which used to be there like 5 years, 7 years ago. They're just looking to get the job done, and there is a sense that the life is limited. So why go beyond? And now the time is interesting with AI, with every changing geopolitical and the market situation, the skills situation. this is actually a time where the skills are getting outdated even at a very fast pace. So the tricky part here is you have to work, deliver a job, but the speed of upskilling, it is actually
it's
more demanding
it's
than ever before. So,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
we have that new generation who is not
yeah,
that
yeah,
excited.
yeah. Actually, you bring up a point, and one thing I've noticed is the Gen Zers are really focused in experiencing things. Like if we look at ourselves, like how do we save money for the future? And not that they're not doing it. There are ones that are doing it. That's a whole different area. We can spend hours on it. But it's more like I want to experience uh, the things around me now. Whether it's food, or whether it's uh, exploring different places, people. That's the way they are. And that is coming into the work now. And then at work, I mean, companies have priorities and have requirements and has deliverables to meet, because at the end of the day, they have to deliver results for their
Correct.
shareholders. And so uh, that's where it's like oil and vinegar. It's not mixing. But now you throw element of AI. Um, the skills gap is getting wider and wider. And I mean, I was just reading an article, 80 people, or writers, 80 people are being replaced with AI. Of course, when we talk about ChatGPT and Gemini, things are going to shift and change. At the end of the day, the companies have to deliver results. And the bigger the result they deliver, the better it's going to be for them and their shareholders. So
How do you see this
that's,
whole thing
yeah.
evolving? Like, what will be the KPIs for companies and these new generation and the generation like 80s, 90s? Because everybody has to change their ways since COVID, especially.
Yeah, I think, like I see, when I was earlier saying to you that companies are going to their KPIs. I mean, at the end of the day, it's how do they basically work efficient companies
Hmm.
with low overhead, with high returns.
Hmm.
That's kind of the name of the game.
Right.
And so now they start seeing like the world of AI and the tools around that. They've come to a realization that guess what? There's a possibility here. And
Right.
and so as these things are, of course, we're the beginning stages, but things are coming up rapidly. Some things are like I said earlier, 80 people gone because AI can take care of the writing stuff.
Correct.
And so that's just one example. There's so many, right? And so I think that that's from the company side. From the employee side, I think that uh, they have to become really, like we say, AI smart, but they have to become even smarter. And I think that there are two ways to look at it. One way is, like you said, it's really hard to catch up with all the new technologies coming and learning and all that. And I think that you need to skill up, like get in the game of what is going on with AI, Gen AI, and all that. Get up to speed. If you're like just on the sideline, you'll be on the sideline, and it could be worse. And then get to know the whole idea of is you're like a coworker, you know? I mean, I got a coworker. Guess what? That coworker is an AI, could be a bot or could be whatever, right? But that is
Right.
what's happening now. You're empowering you're complementing yourself with something else that's fast, can think thousands of times faster than you and process things faster than you. That's how I look at it. That's a like I'm going deep here, but that's a like you're building a relationship with a coworker similar. And then you know what? I'll tell you, you can do that, but there are jobs that are going to disappear.
Correct.
Okay, and so earlier I mentioned you have to outsmart the system. Guess what? You, especially for Gen Zers, they cannot just they will have to look at this world and say if they want to be in this environment to make their income and build careers and so on, they will have to sharpen their pencil and get ahead of the game.
Okay. So on that note, if I take Mr. Narayan Murthy an example from Infosys, the founder of Infosys, so he recently quoted that people in India, they need to work 70 hours a week. Do you think it's reasonable? What's your take on that? Because we are talking on similar lines, to do a job, upskill, and stay relevant.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking when he made that statement works when you have a large pool of labor that is at a lower cost. And if that cost is lower than what the AI or Copilot can provide, I agree with him. But I think that if you really if you kind of think about it and process it further, the reality is that as soon as we have the AI tools available at our hand, they can do the automation and the intelligence and all that at a scale and at a level. The cost of that is going to be way lower than even a lower cost labor worker in the IT industry in this example. That's how I perceive it.
Right.
And the reason why I say that is you just compare that to not just AI, just look at just today without even the AI, the automation. Okay, with automation, guess what? Companies are doing that so they can become efficient, and then hey, I just need one person and then I got the automation stuff and I can do the job versus five people and no
Right.
automation. So the reality is already happening today. Now it's going to get even much more the shift towards uh, less people who are focused on specialization and who are using these AI things to do stuff to produce the same amount of output that more people produced before.
Correct. Taking hold of AI and be smarter. AI is smart, basically.
Yes.
But relating to that, let's say, okay, we take the 70 hours equation in mind, then there is a lot of debate that it's the next decade of India. Salesforce is doing a lot of things in India, and there is a lot of things going on geopolitically also. How do you see India progressing, like considering Salesforce and everything else which is going on?
Yeah. So if we look at, we'll see where the future move towards is this whole kind of the geopolitical shift, I would say,
Hmm.
with China and India. I mean, I think India has a great opportunity um, to position themselves, and I think there's work going on that, but to position themselves to really take advantage of the, the changes that are happening right now, especially when you look at the international companies, US companies, where due to various political reasons or not, are shifting gears. And if you look at the globe, who else is there other than China? India is kind of the next best thing.
Hmm.
Um, when you look at like costs and all that, right? When you look at all that. Now, Salesforce, Salesforce is just, I would say, growing by leaps and bounds.
Hmm.
A decade plus ago, um, we were really at the baby stages in India. We've been around. We met even those days, and where um, people didn't even know how to spell Salesforce. But now things have changed. Salesforce India has grown where there's 11,000 employees today, and
Right.
it's no stopping to it. And in the last few months, 1,000 were added. And we're talking about just not one place like where it's where we were in Hyderabad alone, but now Bangalore, Mumbai, Gurgaon, Pune, Jaipur, and they are making sure that they are they're close to the customers, they're close to where the employee skills are, and so they're definitely very strategically focused on that. And the other thing is really the focus on in the roles. The roles are around the technology, R&D, products, sales, business support, customer success. Those are the things, and they're basically these talent hubs across India. The Salesforce is very much invested long term in India because they see where it's moving towards. The other thing is, of course, 2019, yes, Arundhati Mam joined the team and leading the Salesforce India. The impact that has been made since she joined has been tremendous. Of course, COVID kind of cooled everyone down, but as soon
Right.
as we came out of COVID, it's like with a very strong team that she's put together, it's like it's unstoppable. And the other thing is, like, we're talking about technology. uh, we are really focused in Salesforce India to make it a technology hub, where, I mean, technology, the advancements in AI and a lot of new innovations Salesforce is thinking about. Guess what? Now a lot of stuff is coming out of India,
Yes,
and
I think I
it,
heard that few
yeah.
clouds, industry clouds are developed here only.
Yes, yeah, with Jujar kind of running the whole industry cloud. The teams are there. There's a few verticals focused
Hmm.
on that. So yeah, a lot of things are coming out of that. Even in the world with AI, right? There are things happening. So that, and then if you look at the growth that Arundhati ma'am has created with local customers. Before it was like, okay, we've got the partners supporting the Western world and the Western customers and so on. But now even local customers, regional or local partner growth is growing as well. There was a stat that recently came out. I don't know if you know that, Abhinav, but according to IDC, the Salesforce economy is to create 1.8 million jobs,
Hmm.
88 billion in revenue in India, only in India by 2028.
That's very
And
nice.
yeah, so I think you look at all that, and then on top of that, the India trailblazer community, the largest in the world. Used to be second largest for a long time after US, but it's the largest in
Right.
the world.
Not just now.
And guess what? There's no stopping to that. So when you take all that, I mean, you have a best Salesforce ecosystem, um, that one can be part of.
Right. But Kavinder, in this whole thing, like this jobs thing, especially the kind of revenue which is coming up, but then there is a mindset. We are actually talking about mindset a lot in this whole podcast. So Salesforce developers typically they were into we'll learn Apex, we'll learn LWC, we'll learn flows. But now I think some of these things will be like Salesforce is always known to be low code, and now it is moving, I think, very rapidly towards that trajectory that Einstein might do a lot of stuff for you, which was previously a rare skill and in demand skill.
Yeah, yeah,
So how do you see this shift happening, and what is your suggestion to like developers, especially who are starting up or who are in what category, like let's
yeah,
say 2 to 5 years category of
yeah,
experience? What should they do to make it right?
yeah. I think that they can't just look at the old ways of doing things and
Right.
continue with that. They cannot. I think that there is, they really will have to, and it's a transition right now with this whole AI world, right? There's a transition happening. And so I think that if I look at the bigger picture, you would have the smaller set of groups that are really specialized and for enterprise grade projects and so on, where that customization is needed. Really, you need to, um, it's just today and in the next few years, those things are not going to be automated. You need that. You can't get away from it. Uh, for That's where, like, for the coders, right? That's really where those specialized areas are still going to be. At least who knows what happens in the future, but at least the next 5 years. I can see that you have that. For the rest, it's like, okay, low code, but then you got AI, you throw in AI, right? In my opinion, this is just my opinion. I think that there is a I think that there is a place where there's a middle ground, of the low coders. Maybe it's like between the pro coders and low coders, there's the middle ground where that need is still there. But then and it'll slowly start that way, right? And then on the really bottom side where things can be automated and we can use Einstein Copilot and Prompt Builder to speed up the things, but we can use Einstein to take care of those type of tasks and projects. So I think it'll start that way, and then I think is that becomes even much more uh, core as part of doing things. Of course, it's going to eat up on more complex low code projects.
Right.
I think the individuals have to be part of this journey, and they have to work with AI, have and skill up, work with AI, and I think that individuals will have to really um, kind of take responsibility of um, doing becoming high performing individuals, and then focusing on some of the things I mentioned.
Right, right. And it's a little tricky time because I think there are many people who are just teaching Salesforce the old way, a 10 years old way, which is actually changed a lot in last 2 years only. So there is a big transition coming that way. But if I can summarize what you're trying to say, can we say like prompt engineering is a key skill because with Salesforce own AI, chat GPT anywhere, at least everybody should be very much comfortable how LLMs work with different prompts. And then com skills
Yeah,
maybe.
definitely, because I think if people haven't picked that up, I mean, we are at Salesforce, but was it last Dreamforce? We kind of shared the vision of like, hey, we are in the game of AI. We've been in the game for AI for a long time with Einstein, you know that, and but we are with all this Gen AI, right? We've been there, but we are in the game and we are innovative, and so that was kind of the message for Dreamforce. And then as we move further, development happened, right? We want to make sure people get a chance to touch the product, right? And that's where Einstein Copilot and Prompt Builder came up. We are currently globally want to make sure that everyone is skilled up in these new technologies, including data cloud as well, which is very critical, I think. And so that is happening as we speak. And actually, there's AI now tours happening. A lot of them happen US, Europe. Some happen. You'll see some stuff in July, August, and then of course continuation with Dreamforce. The reason why we're investing in skilling people up and getting content out there is because it's important. That's why, and I think people need to really, like you said, start with prompt engineering and move forward from there.
Perfect, perfect. You just talked about Dreamforce. So Dreamforce is almost there, and we already are seeing a lot of announcements coming almost every other month from Salesforce. What will be the big thing in this Dreamforce from Salesforce side, if you can reveal, safe harbor?
Yeah. Um, I wish I could, but I think overall, like if you look at it, uh, some things are obvious, and like just looking at the importance that Salesforce is putting on AI and data are critical. And so I think people need to get the message. If they didn't get it, they need to get the message that those are critical things, and they need to scale up. They need to scale up, and we are putting materials out there, and so that I think more to come in that at Dreamforce, and we are planning Dreamforce as we speak, and making sure that at Dreamforce we're really going to focus on, at least on the Salesforce developer, admin, architect side. We want to go deeper. We are going to focus on depth, um, and where individuals can really, whether it's through breakouts or through hands-on. We're going to do a lot of hands-on, by the way, and that's the best way to learn.
Right.
Get your hands on the keyboard, get into the org, use the latest features, and that's the best way. So that's what we're going to do, and that's what we're planning for. And then any of the surprises, you'll just have to wait until Salesforce
Yes.
announces, or at Dreamforce. Or you need to be at Dreamforce, and guess what? There is a special 20% discount. I'm just going to throw that in.
Okay.
And the promo code is DF24 share. That's DF24 SHARE.
Yeah, yeah. So I will put that in the video link. But yeah, I was thinking of that only. What swag and any discount code you can offer when you are talking about all the Dreamforce things. So yeah, thank you for the promo code. And don't worry, guys, if you have not taken a note, you will see it in the captions in the video, or I will put it into the video description so that you can easily pick it up. With that, I think, Kavinder, it's a lovely conversation. We are moving towards the end of the podcast. So I'll just ask some lightweight questions to let people know more and more about you. The like one, as you're talking about AI. So any particular AI tool beyond what Salesforce has, or any extension or app which you love?
Yeah, the two of my favorite ones, and it's become a habit now, which is amazing. It's just interesting, but it's, uh, of course, ChatGPT and Gemini. I mean, those are like the immediate ones that I use. Like it's pretty much like it's become a daily habit, whether it's my iPhone or whether it's my computer. Of course, as you do those things, there's always that mindset of, oh, is there credible information or not? But I think this the some of the basic things, I mean, the habit has become, it's like, I used to spend time, someone asked, hey, can you provide me this, and I used to spend like a half an hour thinking through and all that. And it's like, one day it's like, hey, you know what? Why don't I throw my thoughts in JetGPT and tell JetGPT to with some requirements, prompt engineering, that's where it comes in. And so in the past, I used to go to Google and search, and then you get 1,000 links, and you look at the first five links, and not all the information is there. It's like, why the heck am I doing this? Like, ChatGPT can do my job. Even Gemini will also provide me images, multimodal, right? It like in seconds, I've got the information. At least good as a framework, right? Or as an outline, and then you can like tweak things. And
Right.
so, whether
But
it's yeah, go ahead.
and I was just asking, which app is your go-to app? First, you open Gemini, or is your first go-to app is ChatGPT?
You know what? This is interesting. So I started with ChatGPT. This was like last year, whenever they came out. I started, and it was very limited. I mean, it's like couldn't like find things that I wanted. So, and then Google, Bard, right? Google came out with Bard. So I
Yeah,
started using Bard, and okay, with Bard, there was a little bit more wide access because, I mean, Google has, with all
all
the
the data.
searches people have done, all the
Yeah,
data is there. So because I have the ChatGPT app on my phone, it's easy to bring up the app and type in, and I get it. But I'll by default I'll end up going to ChatGPT, but then I will also, at the same time, once I've done my homework, I'll go to Gemini to see if there's anything more I can get out as an extra thing.
as a supplementary thing, Gemini.
Yes, yes.
Correct, correct. But do you think the Google search and research culture will slow down? Because that's what I'm doing also. When I get something, I first go to either of these two apps, then combine the research. And then when I'm really unsure, then I go to Google that is it really true?
Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. The thing is, that's a good point. And the talking about what's true and not, that's the in
That's
the
a yeah,
public
whole debate.
domain, and
Yeah,
that's where I think an individual need to skill up, and to discern between what's right and wrong. I mean, um, mm, I'm just conscious about it when I look at it. Even Google searches, right? I look at it, is a credible source or not? Because there's so many opinions out there nowadays.
true.
Who's right, who wrong, or someone says this is right today, and then tomorrow they said no,
No, no.
no, it's not. And it's like, so if I'm going to be a, I don't want to be an ocean where I'm going to be swirled from the left to the right.
Right.
I want to have my foundation that I can base everything on. And so that's kind of how I look at things. But I think that the future of search is like, in my opinion, is going to shrink, because at the point in time, why do I need to do that? People are going to shift to something that gives them faster, the relevant answers to the things they want.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's very true. All right, so that's perfect. Moving ahead, do you get chance to like watch movies and not if movies like books and anything else? Because I know
Yeah,
you travel
yeah,
a lot.
yeah. I definitely do actually. The two movies that I love the best, and there are others, many others actually, um, is Gladiator and Braveheart. It
Right.
just in the story, right? The scene from Braveheart is, I think there are two scenes actually. One scene is where they're going to go to war with England,
Hmm.
and everyone is lined up, and they're looking at the army across, and there's a huge army. London has a huge army there, military, and then themselves they're only a small group of people. He just rides his horse back and forth and gives that motivational talk to their heart, to their core, and really shakes them up. And so that was one. The other one, which was sad, which is where his friend Robert the Bruce sold him, because he basically um, behind the scenes joined the British and gave gave her away. He basically finds out that that was his friend. There,
Mm.
he just lost hope. Like, I mean, it's just like you could see him and just lost hope. And
Mm.
I think the both of them have some good messages for people listening here, that we may get into situations where that may be broken, but the thing is, what are you going to just rely on that for your life, or are you going to be strong within?
Right. From
So,
Gladiator, I still remember some scenes where this guy, I think Russell Crowe, he was
yes,
outcasted from the army, but he again gains the respect and tell people that you have to fight together to survive rather than running here and there, because I think they're thrown into a big pit and there is a
yes,
big arena out there. So these are very touching moments in that movie, that how
yes,
he is so
yes,
powerful but so humility, good leadership, like how to align all the beasts
yeah,
together. So
yeah. And there's a lot of like, you talk about leadership, there's a lot of like great leadership concept and principles you can get out of. And talking about leadership, the book, the one of my favorite, actually there are two books. Uh, the the one on leadership itself is Developing a Leader Within You by John Maxwell, and that's a book that I've actually, there's so many people I've recommended, because all of us are leaders in some form. We
mhm.
may not have people reporting us, but everyone as a leader and needs to be a leader in some form. And so it's a book that really helped me. The other book is more the on my personal side, is
Mhm.
it's the Bible, which I really it's been my foundation from learning a lot of learnings from Solomon, with the wisdom that he had. From, of course, Jesus Christ, who gave examples, foundational example living. But anyways, that's on books and movies.
Correct, correct. No, definitely, I think Bible, Gita, and almost all these books are life manuals. But typically, even I can blame my generation. We are little short on time to find chance to read them and connect with them.
Yeah,
But I do see a change. People are getting more spiritual these days lately. They're trying to find ways to meditate and connect with the inner
yeah,
self.
yeah. You mentioned about time. You know what? It's like exercise.
Mm.
Do 5 minutes, but do it consistently. And so, next to my bedstand, I have the book and I will read 5 minutes. If I can do more, do more. But at least I'll do something before I go to bed. I think getting into just doing that, because it's easy to watch movies and YouTube and
Kill the time.
Instagram videos and
Yeah.
kill the time, but that time goes like an hour. It can go
You don't
fast, but
realize.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah. And by the way, and reading those books and so on, guess what? They are adding to what I talked about earlier, which is like people skills or skilling up. And when you read, you can now communicate better with people. So it's
Correct.
a good thing.
Yeah, you have new perspectives and ideas to talk about.
Yes.
Okay. So I think in last, I will just take one last question from you. Like you have seen a lot of life, you have traveled a lot. One life lesson which you can share with all of us.
Yeah, the I think this has been my foundation, because a lot of people say like you're always energetic, you always have like a lot of energy, and like you're always smiling, and I have my good days and bad days too. But overall, I've really it's there's a one-liner that really has kind of anchored me, and really anchored me in my life. And when good times come or bad time comes, it's still, the anchor is still there. And it's there's a verse in the Bible that says, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind." That's the first and the greatest commandment. The second is like, love your neighbor as yourself. Love God, love the creator, love your neighbor. That's
Right.
kind of the two things. Keeping that balance kind of will take a person a long way. So
Mm,
that's kind of uh, the really core foundational life lessons, that work, something that I've like really um, anchored around, and hopefully it helps others.
right, right. I think the message of love is important, especially when countries are fighting. People fight on road rage. They fight over parking spots. So hopefully they can take life little lightly and be more kind
Yes,
on each
yes.
other.
Yeah, it is at the end of the day, because time goes, um, and the interesting thing is as I get I have a hard time saying as I get older, because I'm always young at heart. But of course, as I grow older, more and more, there are things that you kind of let go, and it's just because they're not important anymore. They might be important before, but and they were like petty things that
Right.
doesn't matter, doesn't help really. So
True, true that. Thank you, Kavinder. I think it was wonderful catching up, and thanks a lot for your time. And we, I think, talked on a range of topics from AI,
yeah.
Dreamforce, careers, and everything. So we look forward to connecting with you again, and we are looking forward to seeing you in India soon at Bharat Dreamin.
Yes, I'm excited about the trip, and I hope that like if you look at earlier you're talking about Salesforce in India and the future. Just this year, I mean, just this year we had Hyderabad Trailblazing
Right,
with Bangalore Dreaming. We have Bharat Dreaming coming up July 13th.
right,
End of the year, with Dreaming will come up. MuleSoft will have something. You got
right.
5 things happening in India. We've never had that before, never. And it's interesting. It's interesting. And by the way, all these places, they were like, it was not like it was, at least from when I looked online, it was packed house. And so
Yeah,
something's happening. Something's happening. I think that people should not miss it. And if you missed it, guess what? Come to Bharat Dreaming, Jaipur. What an amazing city. It's my, I think it's a city like every time I go there, I feel like I'm home, because it's just the atmosphere, the culture, atmosphere, people, everything is just amazing. Hope to see many of folks there. And I'll be there actually. One thing I'm doing is every time I come, you know me, I just give myself to the community. This time I'm being a little selfish. I'm coming a little bit earlier. And
Hmm.
so I'm taking a few days and I'm going to go explore Jodhpur,
Hmm.
Bikaner, and then I'll be back in Jaipur and hopefully I have a little time to explore Jaipur and like just explore it versus like rush, rush, rush. And
Right.
it just there's so much culture there. So, anyways, that's plan on doing that too.
Both cities are lovely. I hope the weather stays in your favor. It's a little hot here, but yeah, it will be lovely
Yeah.
to see you again. And as you mentioned, it's lovely to see that community momentum as well, and I hope that continues.
Yes, 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 definitely. I'm looking forward to seeing you in person. Yeah, thank you for the time. And I look forward to really chatting about other, I mean, there's so many topics we covered and there's so much depth that some of them can have. So always ready enough. I'm always ready to be part of your
Episode, yeah.
podcast.
Yeah, yeah, love to host you again. And as you said, there are many things and everything has its own depth. But with that being
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
again, Kavinder, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for your time. And but I think love to see you soon. Thank you.
All right. See you soon. Okay. Bye.